What it do, Daleville? I'm Evan Etchison.
And I'm Zach Lasley, and this is your news for Wednesday, September 11th.
Today will be sunny with a high of 89 and a low 70, and tomorrow will be sunny with a high of 90 and a low 72.
Daleville Junior High cheer tryouts. Calling all 7th and 8th graders that would like to try out for the junior high cheerleading team. Clinics will be held in the DHS cafeteria today from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Thursday, September 12th from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Tryouts will be held Friday, September 13th from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. in the cafeteria. In order to be able to participate and try out, you need your Bronco pass and information packet turned into the front office by Friday, September 13th. You may pick up the information packet during lunch starting today.
Today's study tables will take place in the band room with Mrs. Miller Carter. Tomorrow morning, Mr. Wonland will hold study tables from 7 to 7:30 in his room, and Mr. Crenshaw will hold study tables after school from 3:05 to 4:05 in room 132.
There will be a representative from IU Bloomington here on Tuesday, September 17th during Success for any juniors or seniors looking to find out more about IU Bloomington.
In other IU news, seniors, if you are interested in applying to IU, your completed application must be submitted by November 1st for highest scholarship consideration.
Attention all high schoolers in grades 9 through 12. If you're interested in learning about Spanish and Latin American cultures outside of Spanish class, come join the Daleville Spanish Club. We meet after school every Friday starting at 3:15 in Mr. Park's room, room 115. The deadline for joining is Friday, September 27th, so be sure to get at least one meeting by then.
Daleville Junior High cheer tryouts. Calling all 7th and 8th graders that would like to try out for the junior high cheerleading team. Clinics will be held in the DHS cafeteria today from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. and Thursday, September 12th from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m.
And the upset of the week.
Upset of the week. We had the Titans and the Browns. Well,
Titans had 43 and the Browns had 13. A team going into it that was expected a lot with Mayfield and OBJ and Nick Chubb, and it just did not go the way they wanted it to go.
yeah.
Mariota had a decent game with 248 yards and 3 touchdowns. A.J. Brown had 3 catches on 100 yards, and Laney Walker had 5 catches on 55 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, that's decent stats across the team. Nothing crazy. I mean, Mayfield, he had 285 yards, but
There's 3 interceptions.
3 interceptions.
That is not the Baker Mayfield we've come to see in recent times.
And
was not a good start.
He had a safety early in the
Yeah.
game. Ooh,
Let's just hope that they're getting their
they
jitters out of the way early in the year, and they can still make a comeback and show people what they are. He's like Baker Mayfield said, he likes being an underdog, so he's okay with this. So we'll see how they bounce back.
Hello, I'm Emerson. This is my question of the week. How do you pronounce the capital of Kentucky? Louisville or Louisville?
Louisville, however.
Yeah, Louisville.
Louisville. Alright, thank you.
Louisville.
Alright.
Louisville.
Alright.
Louisville.
Alright.
Louisville.
Alright. Thank
Louisville. Louisville.
Good job.
The correct answer is neither, because the capital of Kentucky is Frankfurt.
The September 11th attacks were a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks by the Islamic terrorist group Al-Qaeda against the United States on the morning of Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. The attacks killed 2,996 people, injured over 6,000 others, and caused at least $10 billion in infrastructure and property damage. Additional people died of 9/11 related to cancer and respiratory diseases in the months and years following the attacks. This includes firefighters and survivors of the attacks. It was one of the most tragic and unforgettable things to happen to our nation. We asked staff members where they were during the attacks.
I was working in Plant 18 for Delphi in Anderson, and usually as engineers we're all pretty busy, but somebody was able to get a satellite feed in, and we all sat there dumbfounded in the cafeteria pretty much all day. Nobody did anything else that day.
On 9/11, that was when we were doing I-step testing, and I was actually proctoring in Mrs. Largen's room. Yeah.
Yes, during 9/11, I was right here at school. We were right in the middle of I-step testing, and we couldn't tell the students, I recall, because we didn't want anybody to be upset in the middle of their testing. And but they came around and told the teachers.
In class, and there were 2 or 3 of us teachers that heard something. We stepped out in the hallway and found out, and then we turned on the TV, and as a class we watched it. So it was a really sobering thing to watch. First the second plane, and then the towers, and the whole day was just shocking. And by teenagers typically having more of a emotional, dramatic reaction, it was this really weird day at the school. I was teaching at Anderson High School.
It was my first year teaching. We were exiting a rules assembly for students. I was exiting with my class, and the secretary mentioned that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center, and she had a display on a small black and white TV in her office. And I was able to see it a little bit. And then throughout the day as it unfolded, we heard bits and pieces of what had happened, as we didn't have TVs in our classroom, and obviously at that time the internet wasn't what it is today. But yeah, first year of teaching, remember it very clearly. Very, very sad day.
3rd grade, and I was at school, and I didn't see it happen, but shortly after, multiple parents came in to get their kids to go home and everything like that.
So I was in my Spanish class as an 8th grader, I think, and I remember there was some type of rumor going around that something was going on, so my Spanish teacher actually decided to put on the TV, and we pulled it up and we saw this tower. I mean, most of us didn't even know what the Twin Tower were back then, the Trade Center was. And but we just knew it was in the United States, and there was like flame, it's just smoke all over it. And then all of a sudden they would replay the footage of this plane crashing into it, and we're like, oh man, a horrible plane wreck, because nobody at the moment knew that it was a terrorist attack. And so we were all just kind of like freaked out, like, wow, that's crazy. And you couldn't even really quite grasp how big that tower was, how many people were in there. Nobody even thought anything about it falling down. We just kind of thought, wow, this is crazy. Some pilot must have been drunk or something, And then the news started getting news that this had been a hijacked plane, and there was another one that potentially was going to crash into it. And so then we kept going from period to period trying to figure out what was going on. And pretty soon they decided to send everybody home because nobody knew what was going on. And so yeah, it was really freaky. It was really scary to think about being attacked in the United States. I mean, you just feel so invincible in the United States. Yeah.
I was on my first job ever at Rebuff Jesuit Preparatory School, and I was giving the I-step test. At that time, the I-step test was paper and pencil, so we had our entire sophomores in the room, and I was administering the test, so giving it to everyone. The test, if you've ever done a test that is, like an I-step or an SAT or a College Board, it has to be very tight, meaning you cannot talk, you can have anything there. So the test lasted 2 or 3 hours. The test proctors were teachers, so teachers kind of were here then. Well, when you're given a test, I was obviously very focused on making sure the test happened and went through all right. The teachers were kind of saying things to me. I kind of put it out of my mind because of the test. And then once I left the testing area, the different students and teachers were kind of huddled in their different classrooms and watching the TV. And then the brevity of the moment and situation definitely hit me all at once.
Today we'd like to wish a happy birthday to freshman Zion Bricker and 8th grader Gabriel Miller.
And that's the news for today. It's a great day to be a Bronco.